Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I've been a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, as always, joined by Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick. On the show today, we do have some earnings to discuss. We're going to talk about the kind of follow-through from yesterday as far as Turkey is concerned. And we got some news on Tesla that I hope we'll discuss, but not for too long, because we have some value traps and resilient stocks on our radar this morning. So that'll kind of be the theme of the show, is which stocks it just can't seem to catch the bait and which stocks just can't stop going down. Our guest today, Nick Chahine, he will join the show at 8:35. Joel, what's happening in the overnight session?
We're in the green here. My 8 handles at 33.50. Caught a bid right at your closing price at 25.50. So we'll keep an eye on that for downside. Monday's low at 28.20. Below that, we could be looking at 2800 or lower. Above your pre-market high of 38.75. Big number up there. Friday's intraday high at 43 even. And then you have 43.75 representing the high from Monday's session. Crude, strong close, file through back over $68, up 88 cents at 68.08. Gold trading up 320 at 12.0210. Silver hanging on to $15 there, up 6 cents at 15.04. And Bitcoin under 6,000 here. I'm looking at the CBO futures down 260 at $5,980. Let's bring in Triple D. And Triple D, did you know that I am banned from traveling to wooded areas out west now?
What did you do?
Well, remember when I went to California to visit my buddy in December? And the day after I left, there was the big fires in Ventura. And actually, my buddy's house burned down. Do you remember that in December?
You burned his house down?
The fires burned
I remember that. I remember that. Okay.
So did you hear what happened at West Glacier Park yesterday in Montana?
What happened?
There was a fire.
It's you, Joel. Are you an arsonist?
I am not an arsonist. I have nothing to do with fire. Arsonist. And holy mackerel, my sister.
So you just have bad. So you go visit someplace and then it burns down.
Exactly.
Joel, don't come visit me. I don't want to burn down.
And my sister was the one that informed me on both occasions. So I don't know. I hope it was. This one was much.
Better not tell the authorities that.
It was right on the road. It was right on the road. We went on Going to the Sun Road, and they're like, Going to the Sun Road was closed at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and Lisa and I drove that thing at like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. So those fires were actually going on. They started Saturday night when we were at the wedding that we were out there attending. So I'm a little shaken up here. I think I'm just going to
I'm shaken up too. I don't know if I should be talking to you on this phone here right now. It's too dangerous.
I think I'm just going to stick to the water, because, can't have fires on the water.
There you go. Go visit people on the water and you'll be all set. So if you burn down a lake, then there's really something going on with you.
All right.
This is the weirdest tangent we've ever went on in our life. So let's bring it back to the stocks here. Let's go right into the earnings reports there. We've got Home Depot on fire here this morning. It is trading up $5. It was dead in the water yesterday. Whoever had the memo on this had it backwards because this thing was straight down heading into the report. That is not the case this morning. Getting a nice lift here, trading up almost 3%. Give us your thoughts here on HD. And Spencer, give us those results.
Well, I was going to say maybe Joel burned down the markets this morning, but I guess not. Home Depot Q2 EPS this morning, $3.05. $2.84 estimate, so a very nice 21-cent beat on that. Sales $30.46 versus $30 billion, so a slight beat on the sales number as well. They're raising their EPS growth guidance for the fiscal year to $9.42. That's still 3 cents below the estimate. Fiscal year sales for the year guidance, this is up 7%.
We are flirting right with the $200 level. That's a big psychological level. It just kissed it there, just as you were giving the numbers there. Sold off from it a little bit, so that still looks like it's going to be resistance. That's where we got to 4 days ago. That's a psychological barrier there, so keep an eye on that. Let's see if we can get through 200. But that could be a potential area where it could swing, so be careful there on those big psych levels like 200, already coming off it. But trading very volatile here right now. It actually just picked up even more volatility. I'm wondering, is a conference call going on here this morning? Did they say something else? Because it was kind of a little bit more muted out. It was trading up, but it just kind of blasted off here in the last few minutes. If you look at it, you can see it on the charts. It's been whipsawing a little bit all morning, but it really took off here in the last couple of minutes. I'm not sure if something was said.
You got some momentum going here. Pre-market high, you've hit this just now at $200. That poses a potential resistance. You have another high lurking over that at 20049 and then 20212, the other numbers. But
were you a James Bond fan?
Yeah. Diamonds are.
You always, when you give the numbers, it's funny. You go the 200, like the 007. You must have been a big James Bond fan. I like it. I like the way you get those.
You know what? Quick. Now there's.
We're going on.
One second tangent
Tuesday. This is Tangent Tuesday.
Not Turnaround Tuesday.
It's not. Well, we didn't need to turn anything around. The market's been going up, but it's Tangent Tuesday.
This is a good one. I don't know what James Bond's movie was it. If it was Diamonds Are Forever, but he played craps in the movie, and he just happened to be out. My dad happened to be out in Vegas. And my dad was rolling the dice, and they asked my dad to teach Sean Connery how to play craps for that movie. I'm not sure.
For real? Is that?
Yeah, for real. How can I make something like that?
How do you make it? Your dad met Sean Connery and taught him to play dice?
Yes.
Well, your dad did everything.
My dad, unfortunately, he's not around anymore to verify it, but that's really, I pick up a lot of stuff. That's really hard for me to make up. But anyways, I don't know.
It'd be a very unique one. I often wonder, some stuff you do make up because I think you dream it up and you get your dreams through it. But
you think it so many times?
But that's a good story. You taught Sean Connery to play dice. For which movie was that?
I don't know. Was it? I mean, this is
bad. That statistic. It's your dad. This is probably one of the biggest moments of his life. I just like to meet Sean Connery, not alone teach him how to play craps.
I don't know. Well, it's not relevant to the Home Depot earnings.
Oh, really? Well, it's selling off because of that.
Gosh, Dennis, you go on all these tangents. Anyways, you got to hold above 200 on this one. But let's just do a quick. This is a tangent related to market. Look at this XHB. I mean, are people just not buying new houses and they're fixing up the old ones? Because this chart is the reason I sold my Western Digital at 76 and change was because it was just hanging out on the monthly chart and it was hanging above those lows and it wasn't going anywhere. And this is the exact same chart in the XHB. That chart looks absolutely horrible. So, yeah I guess people are just...
So if we go to the components, so it's always nice when you talk an ETF to just break down the main components. XHB, if we do jump in there, Home Depot is 4.5%, but obviously it's kind of a weird index. There's a lot of different stocks in there. Johnson Controls is number one, which is 4.8% of the index. Home Depot and Lowe's makes up about 9%, but then you have the home builders, Pulte Home and Toll Brothers, and obviously Lennar is a big component there. And bring up the charts of the home builders, LEN, Toll, and KB Homes, because these things have just been absolutely awful. Their earnings actually were not that bad. These are just value traps again. And we've been talking about value traps around the show a little bit. And obviously I'm caught in one being the Ford. This is just the same story here. These companies make pretty good money. They're not growing the top line though. And that's what the market wants. They want top line growth. They don't care if you're making serious money. I mean, Toll Brothers, you gave me a stat in the pre-market show. What was that stat?
It was 9 months in a row. It's been
nine months. It's been down 9 months in a row. 9 months.
Yep.
That's incredible. And how were the earnings last quarter, Spencer? Because they weren't that bad.
They didn't blow it away or anything.
Did they beat or did they miss or how were the earnings?
Let's pull the numbers up for Toll Brothers.
Well, we're just curious, because we saw what happened with U.S. Steel when they beat and raised. They killed it.
Well, they missed on the EPS by 4 cents, but they 72 to 76. The sales was higher. They beat on that by a bit.
But still, let's say, okay, so they made 72 cents last quarter?
Yeah.
So let's annualize, and I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm just doing the quick air math. But say they probably make $3 a share. I mean, the stock's trading with an 11 or 12 multiple. It's pretty cheap, right? Compared to the relative market, it's trading with an 18 or 19 multiple. But that doesn't matter. I mean, and we've seen companies, that make pretty good money, that have low multiples. You're not growing the top line, then they're selling you off. And if we look at Toll Brothers, this has been an awful 2018 for the stock. I mean, 2017 was good. The stock went from 30 all the way up to 50. And now it started 50, and now it looks like it's going all the way back down to 30. So 2017 straight up, 2018 straight down the mountain. And I mean, it's come this far. It looks like that's where it wants to go eventually, is $30. So it's been a value trap here too. Eventually these stocks, some of them can come back into favor, but it's not the case here right now. And there's so many value traps out there, Joel. I mean, this Ford and GE, these things are just annihilated. I mean, Ford is $9.46 here now. I still have this one on my long-term investment portfolio. Obviously, wish I didn't. GE, I dumped out of it. We know Spencer Israel still holding strong. He's a hodler in GE. But, I mean, these charts are just ugly. They're breaking down here again, and they look like they want to go lower.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, when stocks, sit like that just above their monthly lows and they can't catch a bid, I mean, it doesn't look good. I mean, not much to say about GE here. You've been calling for that thing to go to single digits for a while. And,
I think that's why I sold it. I ended up selling. I had this in my long-term portfolio for 17 years. And I finally, the story is broken, and I don't think they're going to fix it. People are talking about and giving cases, well, the breakup value is 16 or 17. If you're sticking around and buying GE because you think it can break up and get 16 or $17, it's not the kind of company I want to own. I want to own the company that's going to turn it around and make some money. Not the company that can be broken apart for its parts and maybe sold off potentially to get, on a fire sale, maybe they can get a little bit more, but there's so much debt there too. And these companies that are really laden with debt, they're getting hit too. And I mean, there's a consideration, with interest rates going up, it's something to consider too. Like when you see, these companies that have a lot of debt and they can't seem to catch a bid. I mean, if their margins start or continue to get squeezed in the case of GE, or if their businesses are just, not doing as well as they should be, and now you have all this debt to service and the interest rates are going up on it, that's not a good recipe either. So I look at this and yeah, I'm still sticking with my call. I think it's going to single digits, and I don't know when that's going to be, but the trend is definitely not your friend.
Yeah, there you can see it. Spencer bringing up the charts there on GE. I guess let's switch gears a little bit. I mean, Turkey stabilizing, that's okay for a market. Another big topic on the pre-market show was these Chinese stocks, man. The carnage in some of these things. I guess you could blame it some on earnings, but just overall, I guess why is the catalyst?
I mean, tariffs is maybe been some of the catalyst here, but now you're looking and they just don't want anything to do with China. And every time they get a pop, they get sold. We saw that on the WB report 4 days ago when it was up $5 on the earnings. It could not hold those gains for more than an hour in the regular session. Straight down, has continued to go straight down. So OK report doesn't matter. It's a China stock. We saw it last night here on two stocks that reported. Let's go to both of those reports. We had HUYA, which is a stock that is traded by the chat. Reported it actually popped a little bit on the initial numbers, and then they annihilated it. Now it's trading down almost 10% here in the pre-market, actually over 10% now, 11% down here. And we also had YY, which is another Chinese stock, trading down 9%, and that is dragging down a lot of these China stocks. We look at them this morning, overall market is up, but you've got stocks even like Alibaba trading in the red here. You've got Momo trading in the red. You've got JD trading in the red. All these things are getting hit here because they don't want to own the China stocks, and FXI itself is actually down 0.88% as well, so almost 1%. So China taking it on the chin. Maybe we'll get those two earnings reports, HUYA and YY.
Yeah, and the HUYA numbers, I didn't look at YY yet, but they were good. Q2 EPS 6 cents is in line. Sales for the quarter, $156.9 versus $145.7 million. So a higher than expected sales figure. Q3 sales guidance represents a year-over-year growth of over 100%, 103 to 109% on year-over-year sales growth. Good numbers, but they just don't want it.
They don't want these stocks. These stories are broken here. I think, everybody who bought this 50, 40, 30 on the way down, it's harder. When I was playing in these, I was playing them on the way up, and I've learned that the hard way. I always look at things. I was like, okay, when they pull back significantly, I'll get in them. But a lot of times you want to, almost be buying the pullbacks and the uptrends. And when the trends start to turn, they start to become hated, that's the time to get out. I mean, this got back up to 40 and gave you a shot to get back out in July, and now this thing's under $30 and it doesn't look good. Can we find some support? Maybe, but if you're buying these things, when the story starts to turn sour, valuation is not there. I mean, these companies do not make money. This is still trading with a 6.7. So give me the sales figure. What, the 150 million it had sales?
No, that was guidance for Q3. Yeah, the
sales, but for the quarter,
yes,
you're talking like 150 million in
sales.
156.9. 150 million in sales. The thing's got a $6.7 billion market cap still. So you're talking about a company that's trading significantly crazy valuation. So when these stories turn south, they can get really ugly. And, we've saw this happen with some of these other ones. BILI is now significantly down. Actually, after being at $22, this is not that far from all-time lows on BILI. $9.62. It's probably going to be down here again today in sympathy with all these other ones. I mean, all these trade together. HUYA, IQ, BILI, even the SOGO that we were trading for a while. All these stories look broken to me. I think all these stocks go lower.
The pre-market low, I'll just give you those. HUYA, see if there's any correspondence here. You out trading at 28.91. The July low was 28.40, and then the low, the previous, there's not much information on this one, new stock. I'm keeping an eye on 28.40 and 26 even. This is for HUYA. YY is in no man's land. You did get that spike to 77.60. Buyers have stepped up, though, to the 79 even level there. So there's your minor support at 79, your major support at the spike low of 77.60. And I don't want to bring up IQ, but I'll look at IQ here.
You're done with IQ. Remember you had those putts? You should have held those putts.
Yeah, I know that, Dennis. I should have. I should have.
Scalper blood kills you, man.
Yeah, I got
kills me too, though. Kills me too.
I got scalped on that one. 27.80, just resting at the lows of the pre-market session. That is making a new low of the move on the downswing here. That was 28.01. Your next 20. I mean, there is some support here. 27.75, nothing major. That's your June 5th low. And then BILI, was that the other one?
Yeah, it did before, but that often moves together. This is just awful looking too.
And then also there was news on 50 Cent, wasn't there? On that stock, they got a video game blocked or something in China. Not 50 Cent.
A rapper?
10 cent.
What are you
10 cent.
I like, did the rapper promote it or something? What are we talking about? 50 cent. That's Joel's jokes. 10 cent.
It's
50 cent, 10 cent. All right. No tangents about 50 cent.
What's the symbol? TCH.
Well, yeah, but it's not actively traded over here. It's like TCH. I can't even that. TECHY, I think it is.
TCEHY.
Yeah.
Too many symbols.
Tencent's awesome. That's a great company. As if it comes down, that one could be one that I'm interested in. But I mean, this is all valuation issues here. And these things are not attractive to value investors at all. And the growth investors are leaving. And I talk about this gap all the time. And growth investors, when you got the growth, they're coming in, they're buying with two hands, they'll buy things forever. Value investors not buying it. So when the growth investors start dumping, there's no value investors tell a hell of a lot lower. So then there's the gap, and that's when you see stocks start to come in. Now, we're not saying fundamentally these companies decline. They just got overdone. So, should this thing have ever been $50? Probably not. So now you're at $28, maybe if it comes back down. But why try to call the bottom? And this is where people get burned so many times. They're like, oh, well, it's just 50, it's at 40, it's going to come back. And then it's at 30, now it's at 28, and then it'll be at 25 and 20, and you're like hoping it comes back, and now you're stuck in the hope trade, and that's kind of the hopeless trade because it can continue to go down and can get ugly. And we've got somebody asking about Veritone Fuzzy is, and this is going to be a nice into that as well, because this is the same thing. This was a story stock. Actually, it was Barron's originally that pumped this stock, and it went from $10 to 70. Because this was going to be the AI stock that everybody was going to have.
Yeah, better Google and Apple on the AI stock.
Yeah, they had all this stuff, and then Barron's really pumped it up, and it ran. It ran from 20 up to 70, got totally overdone, and then it broke. And since it's been broken, it has just been absolutely a disaster. And if we look at it now here, you got a stock trading at 20. You got a stock trading at $12. It had earnings too. So give us those numbers, Spencer, because this thing isn't 15 anymore. It's not 20 anymore. It's $12. I mean, this is broken. The story's over.
Well, they lost 88 cents last quarter versus an 85-cent loss estimate. Sales 4.2 million versus 4.92 million. So, I mean, 4 million in sales. Do we really care?
$4 million in sales.
Yeah.
What is this trading at? I'm going to look at the valuation here right now. $4 million in sales. I mean, you have some little, companies like little private, construction companies that make $4 million in sales. It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's trading with a market cap of $263 million. It has $4 million in sales. I mean, value investors aren't looking at anything like this. Growth investors aren't interested. It's probably why every rally is probably to be sold in this, unless you think somebody's going to come. And I've heard the case, oh, well, somebody will buy them for all their technologies. They got a lot of different things. I mean, yeah, they could get scooped up, but Google and, that's not their style. Are they going to come and buy Veritone? Probably not. I mean, they've got their own stuff. I mean, you're going to compete in AI. It's going to be the Googles and the Facebooks that are going to win that battle. So it's a lot of hope here. You're on the hope trade here in Veritone again. Has it got cheap enough that it gets interesting? I don't know. I own ACTG. This was the way that I owned it indirectly because ACTG actually has some value to it. They own a whole bunch of different things. They own a chunk of Veritone too. And I played it that way. And it hasn't been a great one either. I'm in from, I think, 410 and 390. But, I mean, it was a more conservative way to play this thing. But I just didn't want to chase the VERI. So indirectly, I have a little bit of exposure through that. It's kind of like a closed-end fund. They own a whole bunch of stuff. But, I mean, direct exposure to this, a story is broken.
I guess I should pull my order at $8.13. I remember this was back in August.
Not the all-time low or what?
No, that was when Turn and Ray wrote that article in Barron's, and I can look at it. I know exactly in the dailies. It closed at 787 on August 18th. The next day it opened up at 845. And I figured, hey, I'd like this to fill the gap at 813, maybe take a look at it. It got down to 820. It missed it by 7 cents. Closed that day at 11.75. The rest was history. And then it
was like 2 weeks and went from like $8 to 70.
And then that big red bar, it got and that was on September 27th. It got citroned on that day. That's when left came in. It closed at 65.91. Next day, it made an all-time high of 74.92. It got citroned. Closed that day at 45.95, and then the rest was history. But I guess I will cancel my bid there at $8.13.
I think if it gets there, I think you probably lose money. I mean, the trend is just not your friend here. And if you're looking at all of these stocks that we just talked about, these high-flying momos, at least wait till they start to stabilize. Wait for some double bottoms. Wait till this selling stops. The selling just hasn't really stopped in any of these things. There's been really no reason. Have they had some little relief rallies? Yeah. And I actually tried to play this from the long side once. Back around $20, I tried to play the Veritone. And you got to be tight with it. I mean, I bought some stock and, it was more like a short-term trade. But I bought some stock at like 22 because it looked like it was showing some life there again. Like it might, and you can see where I was looking, a little cup and handle back, in June. It was starting to show some life. And then it was just like, nah, it wasn't going. And then it had a bad day and I got down $1 and I was like, no, I'm stopped out. So you got to stop yourself out of it. When you're playing this kind of stuff, it's so important to stop yourself out. So here, I stopped myself out. I lost like 70 or 80 cents on it, on the stop. Had it for a day or two, didn't work out. I actually was up in it originally, but then it stops me out. So then I'm out and the trend's broken. And then I had some type of, news event where it really fell the next day. Oh, it was an offering. When I had the secondary offering, 2 days later, I went down to 18. And then it's just been straight down ever since. I mean, they're raising capital. They're trying to do what they can here. But, I mean, the story's broken. And when you get these stocks with crazy valuations and the story breaks, it can get really ugly.
We brought up Andrew left. He was active again yesterday, but on the long side here in Twitter.
He's doing that lately. What's with him getting all long? We call him the bubble buster. Now he's becoming the bubble creator. What's going on?
I don't know, but that's not a bad looking chart here.
Twitter.
31.
I said I like it. Yeah, I said it. I've been saying it for a while here. It's trying to hold up. I don't mind Twitter here.
Let's see. Beautiful. I got a great number for you on the upside here. 33.62. That was the high when everyone got all excited after the tweet. 33.61 was your August 7th high. So we're only 30 cents away that, trading up 52 cents in the pre-market. So getting a little bit of boost there. And actually, I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday, and he asked me what I thought about Twitter. I mean, this guy's very active in the markets. He's on Twitter and stuff. And I said, and I mentioned Andrew left, and I go, well, got a nice boost from Citron yesterday, and Andrew left, and he didn't. He was like, who? And I'm like, are you following the markets? Are you following this guy? So I guess he's mainstream to you and I and the people.
To an active trader, but maybe not to like a more passive, passive investor. I mean, he's an opinion out there, very influential opinion. I think to an active trader, he's essential that you follow him because he moves stocks. But I mean, if you're a longer term guy, you're doing some longer term stuff, I could see where you may not know him.
All right, Spoozer Lake in here. We are not holding on to these gains. We are backed off 5 points off the high, up 7.25. Mid-range on the session right here, right now, 32.25. So important to hold this going in to the opening bell here. All right, we have a few minutes before Nick comes on and stuff. Where would you like to go next, Mr. Israel?
We went on a lot of tangents here. Let's take it back to earnings here, or at least, to commentary from Switch. Because SWCH, absolutely your disaster stock of the day. It's down 23% here. What did this company say?
Well, they had the earnings yesterday after the bell, so I'll give you those numbers. The Q2 EPS of 2 cents versus a 4-cent estimate. Sales $102 million is in line mostly with the estimate, but they cut their guidance for the fiscal year. The sales outlook was cut from $423 million on the low end of the range to $405 million on the low end of the range. Their EBITDA outlook also was lower. They also announced a $150 million buyback, but the lowered guidance is probably the catalyst for a pair of downgrades this morning. BTIG downgraded to neutral, JP Morgan downgraded to neutral as well.
Stock trading down significantly, new all-time lows. What's my saying?
All-time low, time to go.
Yeah. And if you're long it, I don't want to own any stock that's making new all-time lows. Can it bounce somewhere? Sure. It's going to bounce somewhere eventually. But when a stock goes from $13.98 yesterday to $10.66, I think it's going to test single digits. Maybe the play is actually, you always say when I say that and then it does it, like why not short at 10.66 and then go for, it's hard to control the risk though. I mean, I think it bounced to 11.50 on you and stuff. But anyways, I think it sees single digits here today. It's just my opinion, but I think it's going to see single digits. Didn't come this far not to. Let's hit some stops under 10.
10.20. That's your pre-market low.
Taking it out. I'll put the bet on the table. I think it's lower. I think it's single digits today. You almost should give me odds on that because it's 10.60. I mean, it's got to fall 6% here for me to make that bet. Just
touch single digits.
Got to touch 9.99.
What was the one you were all super bullish yesterday?
It was this held up the pizza.
Yeah.
Longbow. It did hold up.
Yep.
And it's up here again today. I was saying we're going to squeeze the short some more, and I said it would test 42. Oh, it didn't. Oh, it did. I said it was going to, no, 42.58, I said, and only got up to 42.43. Would have won that bet. I was proposing that it would touch or take out 42.58 and went to 42.43. You won that bet by 13 cents. You should have taken me up.
How about Switch does it close under 10?
No, you got to give me odds on that. I mean, 10.60. It's like this is like, I bet you have a million people taking on this bet. Just hedge yourself, you take the bet on me and then short the stock, and you're happy either way.
Yeah, a lunch. Can you do that?
A lunch versus losing a follow.
A fractional. Can I do enough? As a fractional share on Robinhood.
Sure. You're Robinhood, and you can do like your $6.
Did you know that they do not allow people to buy HMNY anymore? Did you see that article?
Robinhood?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody should allow people to buy HMNY.
No, they cut off.
I'm just disappointed the thing doesn't go down 50% a day anymore. It's down. They got to reverse split this so it can start dropping 50% a day. Because it was like 5 days in a row, it dropped at least 50%. It was absolutely ridiculous.
You know what? I have excellent support at 4 cents and resistance at a nickel. That was the range from yesterday, and it still managed
4 cents doing it. It's just a slow leak to zero. I mean, they'll do a reverse split probably again, do some death spiral financing here if they can. I don't know if they can even do that anymore. If anybody's going to finance this thing. I mean, this is a zero, wants to go to zero. It basically is a zero. If you bought this thing anywhere more than a month ago, you've basically lost all your money. So, I mean, this is a disaster. We should never talk about it. There's certain stocks we don't talk about. I mean, this should be one of them.
Well, this one, I will get you going on a tangent. It traded 123 million yesterday between 4 and 5 cents.
Yeah, well, you got the scalpers in there. They're like, yeah, so make some money here, scalping this 4 or 5 cent. I don't know. I guess if you're doing a big size, there's probably some, I don't know, some rebate traders or somewhere in there. They're probably doing some scalping in there, trying to. You probably, when you get stocks down here, they get locked in like this. You get those rebate traders in there trying to make some rebates. We've not about rebate trading in a long time.
Yeah, that's
remember there's a whole cult that used to do that. Remember over at your buddy at JC Trading, there was a whole bunch of people that did that on the floor. What? I talked to Bob Pisani. He was like, back when Citigroup was under $5, he's like, there's like a whole pit of just like rebate traders down there on the floor. I mean, the rebate traders, they're still active and well. They like to trade those low price stocks. And all rebate trading is when you provide liquidity on ARCA or you provide liquidity on NSDQ, you can get paid a rebate for providing that liquidity up to 30 mils. So, which is 30 cents. So basically on 1,000 shares, you get paid $3 just by having your order out there. So you can actually scratch the trades and be making money collecting rebates. Now, most of your retail brokers, if you're on like a set plan, they're going to be absorbing that for you. And that's why they're doing this access fee pilot, which we talked about with Joe Saluzzi the other day. Access fees are the rebates. That's just the technical name for them, the rebates. And that's the fee to basically access the liquidity in the market. And the provider of that liquidity is the one getting paid it. So we used to have a lot of guys doing it at our firm too, but it's become so difficult with high frequency traders. I mean, they kind of dominate that space. They're faster. It's a difficult way to make a living. You try to trade huge volume and try to make a penny here or make a half a cent here, get out at the midpoint and make the rebate in the process. So you're not even picking up nickels in front of a bulldozer. You're picking up fractions of a cent in front of bulldozers. It's a tough way to make a living.
Citigroup, when Citigroup did the reverse split, I think that's what really killed that.
In there with that, they were all mourned, but there was a whole bunch of people when it's under $5 just rebate trading that like crazy. Then they move on to stocks like SIRI, SIRI. They move on to the lower price stocks, and something like this, there's probably some rebate traders in there trying to make some money.
All right, 8:33 here. We got Nick Chahine creating income with the option spreads coming on in just a few minutes. Any imbalances? Any notable imbalances here on this Tuesday morning?
Let's go look. I haven't looked here this morning. 115,000 to buy in Twitter. We just talked about that. I like the chart here. I think Twitter is showing some life here. So valuation, it doesn't make any sense. Somebody just says trading with 100 multiple. Completely agree with you. It's not going to my investment portfolio, but as a trade, I like it. I would stop out. If I was putting a Twitter trade on, I would absolutely stop out at the low of the move, which is 31.07. So if you're coming in here and buying at 33, you kind of got to give it down to 31.07. It was probably a better setup yesterday when it was in the 32 handle or the 31 handle. I even talked about putting it on, but I never did. But I think you lean on that low of the move for your stop out. It could rally here. It's looking like it's showing life. Pfizer, 79,000 to sell. Merck, 20,000. There's a few selling balance. They're so small, though. No institutions showing their hand here in the morning. GE, the eternal sell and balance, 82,000 to sell there. Home Depot, we talked about that already. It's got 28,000 to buy. That's probably going to grow. Stocks trading up significantly here in the pre-market. But these imbalances, Alibaba, 68,000 to sell. We know China stocks taking on the chin a little bit here this morning. ExxonMobil, 42,000 to buy. You've got the USO and oil trading up here substantially. What about oil? We haven't talked about it for a few days on the show. It's kind of been meandering here now.
Yes.
What are your thoughts here? Like, are we doing work here to go higher, or are we doing work here to go lower? But it looks
trading range. That's the only thing I can say here. The $66 area has just been good support after your bump up to 74. You come down there on 3 or 4 occasions. And let's just call it 70 because you had a couple highs right under 70 and a few just over it. So right now, just a trading range. One of my buddies has just been like buying 66, 20, 30, selling 68, 89, 69. Yeah. I mean,
you identify those ranges, they can be pesky for a long time. And if you're buying the bottom of the range and and selling the top of the range, hey, that works too.
Yeah. Yep, definitely range trading here. Spencer, why don't we bring in Mr. Chahine here on the fly. Nick Chahine joins the show every Tuesday, author of Create Income with Option Spreads. Nick is joining us out there from the West Coast.
Hey.
Good morning, Mr. Chahine. How are you doing today?
Good morning, doing well. How about you?
Yeah. We're doing good here on, well, it's not really turnaround Tuesday, but markets are looking okay. You had the follow through from the Friday sell-off on Monday. We managed to rebound here. I know you're looking for, new all-time highs here shortly. I still can't get out of the trading range camp here. Break down the technicals for us in the overall market.
Yep. So far the overall markets has been dominated by talks about the Turkish lira, like it's going to take down the world. My only concern there from a fundamental perspective is that they actually have a lot of debt. So who's holding the bag? I haven't seen. I did a quick search yesterday. I didn't see which banks are holding the debt. I bet you it's European banks and not ours in the U.S. So remains to be seen if the bubble bursts there, who's going to end up being the loser. But I doubt it's going to be one of those financial crisis major ones that actually takes down this whole bet. So that brings us to the technicals. And like you say, there are no double tops or triple tops or whatever. We've had a few pokes at it as far as the S&P is concerned, but still we're setting higher lows. And then whenever we do break out, we're going back and testing the next from where we broke out. So dips are healthy. We haven't had many. I mean, we're still within an inch away from actual all-time highs. So I'm still positive on the price action without any new shoes to drop.
Right. Yeah. Turkey. I mean, it seems like there's Turkey, there's tariffs, different things come into play, and but you also could go for the theory. It's like sell the world, buy the United States here. You kind of feel that when you have those kind of shifts. Chinese stocks. We were talking about that earlier in the show. Carnage all over the place. They had some magical runs up. You doing any hit and run, any sniper fire at any of these stocks, or is the downtrend just too much for you to combat?
No, I do have a lot of profits in IQ, for example. I tried to stab at Hua, however you pronounce that. That didn't work out as far as buying calls, but IQ was an easy win, a lucky win, really. I just jumped into it as a spec play a while back and noted it here. I sold puts, bought calls, made enough to where now I'm playing with house money. I am short puts there. So as long as it doesn't fall below 20, I'm in the money there. So and my break-even point is well below that just because it's house money, obviously. So it's a speculative play. So if somebody wants to bet, that is the definition of betting. It's not a lot of smart investing there. The charts look ugly. Especially, I think last night, HYUA reported, and the reaction was pretty ugly, or is ongoing as pretty ugly. So it had priced in a big move, and it delivered on the downside. From here, I don't know what happens. I don't know much about their fundamentals. It was a speculative bet.
Any lotto setups? Macy's has earnings tomorrow. Basically over doubled from the $20 level. Looking at the monthly charts here, we seem to be finding a little resistance just above 41. The last the high of the move was 41.33. Last month's high 40.94. So far 40.79. So looks like an institution's trying to wiggle out here at the $41 area. Any thoughts on Macy's going into their report?
Sure. You mentioned the monthly chart. I'm looking at the weekly, and it looks pretty bullish. It looks like a giant cup and handle sitting somewhere on the neck. So the technical upside is there. Higher lows knocking on a neckline of a cup and handle on a weekly basis is not a shabby way of getting into earnings. I think 44 would be the first eyeball target on that swing up if it happens. I have to tell you, though, fundamentally, I probably said it here before, I don't like, the fundamentals that, they figured it out. I don't think they have. They figured out how to take some foot traffic from their stores onto their online, their websites, but I bet you anything they haven't figured out how to take back sales from Amazon into them. So if they've lost to Amazon sales, if they lost sales to Amazon, I don't think the online sales they're getting is from Amazon. It's taken away from their own foot traffic. So I don't like the fundamentals, but I usually don't trade on emotions. So I would do the homework on price action and open interest bias to see if there's any clues there. Not all the time. They're not there all the time.
I guess putting all the China internet stocks together, KW, EB, Crane Shares, CSI, ChinaNet, ETF. I guess same thing there. I mean, do you trade the individual stocks, or do you ever do something on this ETF?
I did. I did have a trade in the FXI, and it paid. It paid quickly. I just bought calls, and they cost like 20 cents at the time. If somebody stayed in it and didn't book their profits, they might be even and maybe slightly down in it now, even after the rout. But I didn't go in early. I definitely went in after they were down like 25% already, or 22%. So it was just a technical play. It's not like I believe in their future. It's just a pure technical speculative bet on, okay, they've been beaten down so much. Let's try the long side of it for a little bit.
Don't call it a comeback, but Celgene here, coming up, had a very, very, very good July. Trying to add to these gains in August here, trading up 3 cents in the pre-market at $92 here. Any kind of upside target, or what are you looking at in Celgene, CELG?
Okay, so I did go short the IBB just as a thought. And it played out pretty quickly. And then I said, I still like it as a short, but I was out because I booked my profits. So Celgene, what is it in the pre-open right now?
It's flat. It's,
okay.
Yeah.
So 92. So again, Celgene is on a neckline where it has been setting higher lows. So I give the advantage to the bulls, unless the bears can come up with a reason why they should kill the momentum. If I'm writing calls, or if I'm long, I would stay in it. If I'm looking to get long, technically I probably want to see a 93 plus to say, okay, it's going to get to 98. Or 96 to 98 would be the upside there that I would be playing for. I can do it by debit call spreads, buying the stock, selling put spreads, or selling naked puts, or a combination of all of those.
All right, gapping up here, Tapestry, they had some good earnings. I think they had a 3 cent beat. Just was really struggling at the 48.5 area. Where now I love these gap into a gap areas. Good report here for TPR, trading up 259. Any thoughts on this issue?
Boy, I can't get used to this new name.
Well, why would you do that?
It rolls off the tongue, right? Jesus. I mean,
Tapestry.
You work decades on building a Coach brand, and then boom, you throw it anyway.
But what about bucking? The worst one is Priceline to bucking. What are they doing? Yeah. Like, they worked so hard. That was the best brand. Priceline negotiator.
Yeah,
what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Booking.com, I guess, is a shorter. I don't know why. I don't know.
But then Kramer made a good point on the show Mad Money. I think it was last night or the night before, and he's like, "It sounds like you're getting booked, like you're going to jail." Booking.
It's still catchy. It's still catchy.
He was not favorable of it last night. That's rare. So anyway, up at 50, it's an eyeball target for this breakout from the 48 neckline that they had. Okay, it fills most of the gap. But if you look to the left, this is the area where if I'm long, I'd start to get off of it because it's an area of contention from February. So,
big old gap in there.
No, yes, but if you look a little bit further left than that, there's another area there. I'll try to highlight it. So there was a fight. And I'll extend it to here. And it'll probably put it between 50 and 52. So that's an area I would look at. So whoever battled over it back in February, they might want to do it again here. So
Nick, a couple. I got one from my Twitter account here. Somebody was asking me, it was Kalid. We actually talked about Dropbox from yesterday. He wants to know about MasterCard and Visa. So just looking at these two stocks here. I own MasterCard in my long-term investment portfolio. I don't have a position in Visa. No trading position on either of these stocks. Give us your technical thoughts here. Break down MA and V.
Well, I think Visa had a good write-up yesterday, but those two are hard to short. Those two don't give you any opportunities, perfect opportunities for entry long. So it's one of those things where you got to buy high and sell higher if you want to. I am long PayPal, and I got lucky. I shared a long setup on PayPal, and boy, did it pay out. I mean, you can see the setup. I'll show you here. I like all of these, but it's not going to be a clear entry point from quality stocks like that. This is fintech. They're caught up in fintech, I think. So, and they're caught up with the banks. The banks are cheap, so the downside is limited. And when fintech, talks of fintech rise, they also benefit from that. So they have a good thing going, and I do like the long-term prospects. So if you sell credit put spreads, if you sell puts, you're making money. If you buy the stock and hold on for a long time, obviously you're making money. So any which way, the bear thesis is thin against those things.
All right, S&P's here, hanging in here just above mid-range, up 8.25 at 28, 33.75. More stocks popping in here in the chat. One of your favorites, Robhood, wants your insight on PVTL. I think that's pivotal research.
Pivotal. Okay, so
was a former Momo, has become recently a no-no. It looks broken to me. Just so I'm not trying to influence your opinion here, Nick, but it doesn't look as good as it once did.
Well, I'm eyeballing the 2185 to 22 as a place where they could probably place a floor. For now, it's a neckline, but if that fails, then they revert to like the 20.5 area. So I don't know anything about it, but these are the two things that just jump at me just from looking at Pivotal's chart. So yes, they fell recently to 2192, 90, something like that. So that's the point that I caught my eye first. And now they're heading towards it again. If they bounce off of it, then this could be a floor because it's a prior pivot point from June 10th or 12th. But if it fails, then they go to the next pivot point to my eye, which is around 1990. Good year, by the way. So I've heard.
Why was 1990 a good year?
No, I don't know. I can't even remember what time, where I was. Well, actually, it was a good year. Now that I think about it,
beginning of the grunge era, Nirvana, Kurt Cobain was all coming out. That was all good.
Anger. That's all anger. What are you talking?
I like that stuff though. I like that grunge music. Pearl Jam came out. That was good stuff.
Angry right there.
Netflix. Ed Parker wants to know about this stock. It's kind of piques my interest a little bit just from a trading perspective. It has many new lows, and we know a lot of these other former, Momo stocks. Well, not Momo, but the FANGs, like Amazon, looks like it's just a monster here. It's up another 20 points this morning. Google has, come back and start to look okay here.
Wait, it's up another 20 points. So that's what
Amazon's up another 20 points.
What are we now? $80 from my 2000?
Well, it's going there. 1917, it's going to that 2000. So good call. When did you made the call? I'm making the 2000 call today. When did you make the 2000 call?
I don't know, months ago. If you have a mic, I remember saying buy the bounce at 800. So if you have
bounce at 800.
if you have a mic, drop it for me on your desk, please. Go boom.
Nick's been all over Amazon, and he's still in the bull camp. Amazon. We went on a tangent here, but Tangent Tuesday.
Yeah. So Netflix, I do like the company stock just because so many Uber fans. I am read in some calls there, but it's calls where I booked profit and rolled into some calls for a little bit more juice. But we'll see if those pan out or not.
You still think Netflix is an opportunity to bounce?
Well, if the markets are higher, I don't think Netflix will be lower. That's basically the bet. It's the bet on the whole market. And this is a Momo, and Momos will run faster in either direction. So if the market's correct, guess what? My calls will go to zero pretty quickly. But if the markets actually bounce into a new high, the bears will retreat fast and faster, even so in Momo stocks. Let's
go Twitter. Michelle wants to know about Twitter here in the chat. And we talked earlier. It got a Citron love yesterday. It's getting Dennis love here this morning because I think I was, like I said, I would lean on the low. If it breached 31.07, the low of the move, I'd probably stop out. But it's starting to show some life here. And if this was this loved stock here, it could get loved again. What do you think?
I'm long. I shared a long trade. We're green in it a lot, so I'm sitting on those longs. And I did draw 2 lines, and one was the stop, and one they're on the chart, and one was the acceleration point. And yesterday it kissed the acceleration point. So we'll see how that plays out.
All right, move over here quickly to Apple. I know you were trading that one a little bit and trying to convince me to buy calls after the report. You were like, why fight the trend here? Little bit of consolidation. You have any kind of upside of target here in Apple?
Hopefully you bought those calls after the report. So no, I am not in Apple anymore. I would like to get into it, but probably when they bring you back down to like 196.
Too far. Gone too far for you.
Yeah,
it has. And you know, okay, so this is going to sound totally silly, but I look at Apple and I've picked up a ghost pattern probably a year ago, maybe longer. And I draw this ghost pattern and it almost tracks that ghost pattern religiously. So it tells me it's going to meander here and then fall about $8, and then I'll do that, go long it then. And so I'm not compelled. It's not an obvious entry point for me.
NVIDIA reports on Thursday. The stock is we once talked about it almost every day. We haven't talked about it as much here.
It loves that pre-earnings run.
Yeah,
that's why I was saying I wanted to buy it like Monday, Tuesday for the pre-earnings run. You're getting it already here this morning. It's like last report, it ran 30 points ahead of the report. So it likes to run ahead of it. So I think there's some alpha to extract from buying it ahead of the report, not taking it through, but just buying it ahead of it. Do you ever play those strategies there, Nick? Like buying ahead of the event and then selling before?
Yeah, Tangent Tuesday, right? So yes. Guess what we did?
You did that.
DBX. We ran 9 points and then 6 points before that. Remember, it ran 6 or 7 points and then another 9 points ahead of the report. And we bailed. I bailed before the 9 points, but it was already a quad hit for me. So I'm not complaining. But those who followed, I entered a week before. I can't remember exactly how long before.
Works.
Yeah, it always works in Apple, and because it works in stocks where the bear thesis is thin, and so they don't have gumption to keep it down ahead of the earnings. So whoever short wants to cover into the earnings, whoever's optimistic about the earnings will end up buying. So the balance favors the bulls. That's my opinion. So NVIDIA, quality stock. At this point, not an obvious entry point. I'm not an expert in chips and what's going on, but I am an expert to where I know that if it gets hit hard, I'm selling puts. So if I'm gambling, because the reaction is a pure gamble for the short term on the event itself, so they might punish it. I don't know. And it's so expensive to buy lottery tickets. It's like $16 to buy the line. So I have no edge. It looks like there's a lot of support below from looking at the open interest, but there's also headwind. So I think the sellers of the spread will probably win, but I'm not certain of it. So I don't have an edge for the short term. For the longer term, okay, I could buy some debit call spreads, but I would go out in time because this is a long-term bet on the chip sector. NVIDIA is going to be there.
All right, two quick chip stocks, and I got one more issue for you. BZ Tokyo, what does Nick think about bear calls? Bear calls, I don't know about that. On Intel and the jump in AMD. I guess bear calls, he means short call spreads. Intel, matching ranges. Got quick thoughts on Intel and AMD?
I am long Intel, and unfortunately, I went long the day before the downgrade. So I'm red in those, but I sold puts spreads below, and I should be fine with that. Long term, if the markets are higher, Intel is higher, my opinion. AMD is too frothy. So if I were to choose one of the two, I would choose Intel. I know the experts will say, but you got chips coming, whatever. I don't know enough. I know that when I'm looking in P&Ls, I'd like to see green, not red. And Intel has green. I can sell against green value. I can't sell against red hopium.
Okay, and you talk about some good trades and trade management and stuff. Are you still in the gold market? Because
Oh my God. Putting your finger in the wound. Yes.
I'm sorry. No, I mean, no, because
you can't get 100% right. He bats 9.
I mean, Dennis and I talked about getting tanned all the time. I mean, and I know that you trade a lot of different things, and so it's not it's not a big thing. But I mean, have you cut bait yet? Or you still front, average? Don't frown, average down. I mean, just give us how to handle that.
Nick handles a loser because he doesn't lose that
much. He only has one, so
this is a definite loser for me. But I'm still in it, and I have booked some put profits. So I'm not just sitting watching.
Even on your loser, you're booking profits.
I love that.
I don't want to.
Well, I'm reducing my loss. I'm reducing my loss. That's what I'm doing by betting against my own self in the short term. So my commitment is longer term, but in the short term, I bet against myself. So I made a couple of bucks that way. I'm still in it. Gold will find footing. It's just a matter of time. It is the dollar trade has made it impossible to actually use the usual fundamentals that happen there. But on the weekly chart, it tells me that if I didn't bail already, I'm probably too late. But, famous last words. So we shall see. It's not like the trade is going to break the piggy bank, but it is an annoyance, and I'd like to get out of it at even money if I could, or close to even. So we shall see.
Okay. All right, Nick, we'll let you go. We kept you for a long time, but you cover a lot of issues, and you do that very, very well. So, Nick,
a lot of fun.
But we'll talk to you again soon. S&P's hanging out here, mid-range on the session, still up $7, 28.32.50. Dennis, any ratings that you'd like to talk about?
That would be a Spencer Israel question because he's working the pro there. So, Spencer, what do you like?
Where are you, Spencer?
Oh, I'm around. I've been in the background this whole time. There wasn't a ton in as far as ratings that I saw this morning. I did mention the couple of downgrades we got from that earnings report. What was that on SWCH? But let's see. I saw a downgrade. Bank America. Always interesting when a bank downgrades another bank. Bank America downgrading Deutsche Bank. I'm sorry, that was yesterday. I'm on yesterday's calendar.
My
mistake.
Spencer.
All right.
All right, get him some coffee.
I'm on the right one. I'm on the right one now. Edward Jones upgrading BCE hold to buy. Like I mentioned, there really wasn't a ton that jumped out to me. A lot of initiations this morning. A lot of just maintaining their ratings. As far as downgrades are concerned, Baird downgrading Urban to neutral. We have JP Morgan downgrading Paychex and Fiserv FISV both from neutral to underweight. JP Morgan downgrading a lot of stuff today, actually. No, really not a ton, though. That a win, catching a downgrade from Jefferies, buy to hold, and I don't know. That's kind of all I saw.
Okay.
Cognizant was downgraded. I saw it. JP Morgan, CTSH.
Yeah, I see that.
MAR was upgraded to RJ. There's a few. They're not huge ones, though.
Didn't Nielsen get upgraded at Barclays or something like that? I just want to talk about that stock for 1 second. Yesterday, we were in the chat, and it was rallying in the pre-market, and we were a little bit skeptical on the rally, and it did keep rallying in the pre-market. But the interesting thing is you made a pre-market high at 25.74, and that was in the bracket between 9:15 and 9:30. Opened up when the real liquidity came in. You had the open in Nielsen at 25.42. You just missed that pre-market high by less than 10 cents, 25.67, and you did fade. So when we talk about these pre-market highs and lows, I mean, if you're looking for continuation moves, so as you did at Nielsen, it's really important to take out those pre-market levels. 859, just real quickly. Home Depot's found a few sellers here. Dennis,
200 the high.
Yeah. 200 is a
big psychological levels just work. So that's major resistance until it's broken.
Okay. And Spencer, anything else you want to add, or do you want to?
No, I just wanted to add that the Nielsen upgrade this morning was from Macquarie. I don't think it was from Barclays or whoever,
I stand corrected.
Whoever you said, but no, that was pretty much all I had on my list to discuss. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, or Google Play, or just watch the show on YouTube. Thanks to Nick Chahine, who joined us today. Thanks to everyone in our chat. Quick reminder that all the information presented on today's show is for informational purposes only and not meant to be investing advice. So that's going to be it for us today. Hope everyone had a good morning. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope you join us again on Wednesday.